Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Other Books International podcast. Today, in collaboration with the Toronto Islamic Centre, we have an incredible two-parter with our special guest, Brother Shaffni. We are joining you from Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto. And Brother Shaffni is actually connected to the Toronto Islamic Centre. Toronto Islamic Centre is the subject of our part one. It is the only masjid on the longest street in Canada and in North America on Yonge Street. So we're going to learn more about the history of Toronto Islamic Centre today. And also Brother Shaffni has a mental health background. So we're also going to unveil the connection between mental health, spirituality, as well as Islam. So you are in for a treat. Buckle in, inshallah. Hope you enjoy today's podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to our podcast hosted by the Toronto Islamic Centre as well as Other Books International. If you don't know about both institutions, inshallah, you'll find out more very soon. But I'm joined by a very, very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Brother Shaffni of Toronto is joining us today for our first kickoff podcast. Brother Shaffni, how are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
I noticed something. I don't know if you're trying to hide it away from the camera, if it's not visible, but I noticed it looks like you had a bit of a hand injury.
Yeah. So,
what happened there?
So mashallah, in my day we didn't have hand casts like this. I feel like Iron Man walking around with this, but no, we had a soccer game. It was TIC versus another masjid downtown. And so that masjid in the beginning, they said it was a friendly match, but they said, you know what, our mosque is going to win. We couldn't let that happen, so we gave it our all, and I'm not as young as I thought I was. So we ended up getting out of bounds, and I scraped my two palms and my knee, and I ended up fracturing the bone behind my thumb, and they told me 3 months, inshallah. So
inshallah, you recover. I know what that feels like, having your competitive juices flowing.
Oh,
I'm in my early 30s,
MashaAllah.
and so I want to get back into sports.
Yeah.
But inshallah, may Allah give you a speedy recovery, so you're able to teach the young ones a few tricks.
Jazakallah khair. I mean, man, I think I realize how weak we are. And so, subhanAllah, something I realized, even your thumb, when was the last time we thanked Allah for our thumbs, and you start to realize, blessings we've been given, we don't thank Allah enough for.
SubhanAllah, what a beautiful reminder of health. So Shaffni, you mentioned TIC versus Masjid Toronto, and TIC has been making a lot of noise lately. You completed a very large final payment to purchase the building, and it's been making headways. The Toronto Islamic Centre is known as the only masjid on the longest street in Canada and maybe even North America. So tell us about your relationship with Toronto Islamic Centre, the masjid, and how it started. How did TIC start? What were those early days like?
Yeah, so alhamdulillah, I just want to preface this that the founders of the masjid, they're what we call them, amongst the staff, we call them the uncles. And so these uncles, mashallah tabarakallah, they've been giving their life, and this is their life's work. So alhamdulillah, I came on pretty late compared to when they started, but this was an idea of theirs since almost the 60s. Many of them were started off as giving da'wah at Yonge and Dundas. And so this is something interesting. All of our board, all of them have experience giving da'wah on the streets. And so this is one of their big things that they focus on. But my involvement with TIC, I'd say, started one day I got so back in high school, I started to give khutbah in the cafeteria. Sometimes the vice principal would join us, and it was a fun time. And so I got a request to give a khutbah at a library at Yonge and Eglinton. And so this group was eventually the people that ended up starting the masjid.
Wow.
But this is from 2008, and the founders of the masjid are very simple. They're not it's not like professionals in terms of wealth, or not everyone's like a doctor, for example, but simple people, humble people. And so they said, you know what, we noticed a lot of people in this area don't have a place to pray Jummah, so let's start something. So it started back, I'd say 2008. I was in high school at the time. Your viewers can do the math. But yeah.
You look very young, I must say.
Alhamdulillah, man. I'm very grateful that I look young. Inshallah.
But yeah, tell us more. So high school is kind of how you got involved. It seems like the leadership had humble beginnings. I love the point around everyone having their hands in da'wah. You know, you're located at Yonge and Bloor. Recently, you've had speakers that are also known for spreading da'wah. So yeah, how's that translated into kind of the programs that you have running as well? I noticed that there are a lot of young people that come to the masjid. In fact, a lot of my friends I know through the two masjids downtown, Masjid Toronto and Toronto Islamic Centre. Kind of what have you been doing that you've been seeing is very unique, whereby you're attracting all these young people?
I mean, like, I think for us, look, when I was growing up, my father used to take us to the masjid since we were young, like very young. And so we kind of grew up in the masjid. And, you know, my dad wasn't he wasn't a scholar, or like even the Quran, he didn't know too much Quran. And so how he kind of brought us up is just this love for Islam. So back in the day, like, it was kind of like, there's a little story here, but so we used to have Halloween. We'd celebrate Halloween, but we dress up as Sahaba on Halloween. Like, we have like, like there's this movie, there's a movie called The Message.
Yeah.
And so we'd watch like different, developing that Islamic identity, right? And so we'd all be like, and so I remember one clip in that movie had the sword of Ali radiallahu anh, I think it's known as Zulfiqar, and had like a double pronged, and we'd have a piece of cardboard and cut it and pretend that was the sword. And like, we'd pretend to have masajid in our rooms. Like, my bedroom would be the masjid. We'd take like blankets from my parents' room and like bring random masahif and put in the corner. And okay, guys, it's time for dhuhr, time for asr. But it wasn't, like, it'd be 10 minutes apart, you know? So, and we had this thing growing up. Another small example is my dad. We'd go to the masjid and he'd take us to the mosque and to give my mom a break. And so he likes to sleep in the masjid from dhuhr to asr. He'd do this on the weekend sometimes. And so what he would be like is, okay, guys, today arrange the Qur'ans by color, then by size. And just developing this love for Islam. These are very unconventional ways to develop love, right? So especially the things at TIC, growing up in a neighborhood as well, growing up in Regent Park, along with the masajid and the community there, that has a lot of what's happening at TIC, a lot. And so trying to develop love for both the youth, the adults, the children, having everyone develop love for the masjid in a way that might be a little bit different than how they may have been used to it. Normally in the masjid, kids being in the masjid, for example, is sometimes a hot topic, especially in Ramadan if there's a lot of noise and things going on. But at TIC, we have a reputation for being very welcoming, especially towards children. And we're pretty vocal about that acceptance as well, inshallah. So trying to develop love in different ways is how we've done it. What's interesting, when I first joined, I'd say TIC back in, so I officially started October of 2019. So when I officially started as an office manager, just responsible for arranging the stuff at the desk. To this day, the desk is a little bit messy, even though I have moved up in my rank. After this podcast, we'll do better, inshallah. I'll make some phone calls.
We'll help you out.
Jazakallah khair. So, I mean, starting off like that, and I remember one of the first things I did was, there's a Canadian blood donor clinic right beside the masjid.
Yes.
And so before I even started, I went there, got the manager's contact, but first I donated blood myself. The goal was for the community to donate blood together. So anything what I do, anytime I do an idea, anytime I bring something into the community, I try it myself. Anything and everything. If it's, for example, someone coming to do surveys for people, I do the survey first. If it's someone wanting to provide any type of service, I make sure I do it myself on my own dime before I present it to the community. So I said, you know what, let me try donating blood, see how it feels. I did. It wasn't bad. They gave you some nice cookies at the end. And yeah, so this was an idea. However, there was pushback in the beginning, like, what are you talking about? Giving blood? What do you know? So it was especially because it was like the neighbors, right? But alhamdulillah, some ideas I proposed work, some didn't. But as I did grow within the organization, especially during difficult times like COVID, alhamdulillah, I guess my love for the masjid, for TIC, grew, and it was also apparent on some people that I was answering to as well. So they seen it as well.
Amazing. SubhanAllah. That's incredible. And I'd like to go back a bit, because early on we started talking about the history of TIC. So you talked about your khutbahs and how that original group helped to initiate and start TIC. We also just talked about all the incredible services and programming that you have and how you're able to attract young people, and a lot of that is due to maybe the unconventional teachings that you had growing up. But, you know, the programs that you're able to deliver, the people that you're able to attract, that's only possible with the investment and the resources that are invested by the community, whether that's skills, and in this case with masjids, it's funds. And I know you recently had a very successful fundraising campaign that created headlines and at least in my eyes on social media or through advertisements. You were able to complete an $8.9 million, actually $9 million purchase of the building. Tell us about that. How were you able to accomplish that in just a few years?
SubhanAllah. Yeah. I'm first thankful to Allah for that. You know, I sit back sometimes and sometimes I don't believe it. Like when it did happen, I couldn't believe it. Like even now, I still feel like I start to realize, it starts to like dawn on me a little bit. But subhanAllah, this process started, I mean, when TIC was at the older location at Yonge and Wellesley, from 2000 and almost 2010, 2009, when they moved in, it was a 10-year lease. And so the landlord didn't want to renew the lease, so they said, you have to leave. So the masjid was looking for a spot for a while. They were also looking for a permanent location as well, but it was tend to be a little bit expensive. Masjid was looking. They ended up finding a Shoppers Drug Mart that was vacant at Yonge and a little bit north of Bloor, right beside the reference library, on Yonge Street. SubhanAllah, and so the rent, just the rent for that, if you want to guess, how much do you think the rent was? For the masjid where it is right now?
I'm just going to give a wild guess. Maybe 20,000 a month?
20,000.
Was it?
No.
Okay, that's my guess.
It was 47,000 a month.
47,000, okay.
So look, okay, I grew up in the hood, okay, and seeing 47,000 like someone's salary, like, so it's like, you have to pay 47,000 a month.
Wow.
SubhanAllah, I'm like, how the, you know?
Yeah.
So, SubhanAllah, but it was happening. They were raising the funds, and alhamdulillah, you know, one thing I can say, I've never heard of a house of Allah closing down because of lack of funds. Sometimes there's politics and management or whatever the case is, but never that. So, but that was a crazy thing. I've never seen numbers like that before. 47,000 every month, like a check for 47K. So watching that happen, this was you know, a bit in 2019. If you want to go a little bit, there's like a lot of, there's a ton of stuff. Even the deal, even the way the masjid was purchased, there's questions about our faith. And because if you look like Yonge Street is not a place for, it's a place of business, right? And it's hard to sustain yourself if you're not making money. You will rarely even find any charities on Yonge Street, let alone a place of worship. So subhanAllah, like this is why, like I did a drive once. So I was coming back from the masjid and from another masjid in Mississauga. So I got off at Yonge, just right off the Gardner, and head north and try to look for any churches, synagogues, temples, anything. There's nothing from the lake up till TIC.
Wow.
No church, no synagogue, no nothing. I mean, why would there be? It's too expensive to be there. So, but subhanAllah, the traffic that's there, you have almost 10,000 people coming there daily.
Wow.
In front of, just walking in front of that daily, and just, subhanAllah. So, sorry, getting sidetracked. But regarding that initial phase in 2019, we were, the goal was to purchase that building, right? So when I went in, the idea actually, in the very beginning, was to get enough funds for a mortgage. For a mortgage to be able to purchase the building. They said we wanted to raise 33%. We talked to one of the financing companies, Islamic financing, and they said, we'll give you guys a halal mortgage, give us 33%, and then we'll talk. But don't talk to us before that. 33% is around 3 million.
Wow.
So the masjid's never seen even 1 million. So we go in, I remember the announcements we're making, and we're just trying to find a way to collect these funds. But imagine 50 grand, you're paying almost 50,000 a month. It's insane. And then we're trying to raise those funds, and then COVID-19 happens. Masjids get closed. I remember I was there, it was March, can't remember March, it was the middle of March, I think, 14th or 15th. And
March 11 is when I was born, and I remember the World Health Organization declared it a pandemic at March 11th, so I'm not going to forget the date because it happened to be the day I was born too. Yeah.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. But so I mean, we say that there's a blessing that happened on that day, but also a big adhab for the world.
SubhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Not your birth though. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you for clarifying that. The two there.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, man. So the COVID-19 happened, and all of a sudden we weren't able to afford the rent. So alhamdulillah, the government had a rent subsidy. And so like mind you, my experience, my background is not in look, I gave khutbahs when I was in high school. I was doing for around maybe close to 7 to 8 years, I was doing garage door repair. That was my field. I was very good at it. I was the exclusive guy for the Japanese consulate for garage doors. I was my company. So we were doing for different high level people. And then, anyways, I transitioned to the masjid after. And we were doing that for a while. So this is where I'm coming from. So to just be put in that situation, but we move as we are. The masjid phone would come to my cell phone. So because the masjid would be closed, and then people would call the masjid. It was a hard time for a lot of people. Would come to my phone, I'd answer whatever different situations, learn about the CRA, rent subsidy, this, that. We were trying to raise money, 30,000 was a lot of money for us back then. You'll see why, because we got an insane amount of donations, there's so many stories. But since that time, the idea went, especially during COVID-19, was just to survive, never to buy the building.
Yeah.
It was just let's just get out of this thing. Let's figure out what to do. And so, I mean, I will admit, we were looking at other locations. During that time, we were eyeing other locations. Someone, if we moved to Bay Street, it would have cut the cost in half even.
Wow.
Because we're on Yonge, that's why it's that price. So,
for anyone who doesn't know, Bay Street is a major street.
It's
just
another
west of Yonge Street. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, I heard some brothers describe the area as the Manhattan of Toronto. It's very wealthy. Just for context, you have right beside the masjid, you have the Four Seasons hotel. I just randomly checked how much is it a night at the Four Seasons. It's I think $1,200 a night,
wow,
or $1,300 a night, and you have people like that coming to TIC.
Yeah.
So that's also a benefit as well.
You mentioned stories about. I know it. There were times I've heard that you were close to not hitting your target for a given month. Yeah. So tell us about a time when that was the case, and then did someone come through, and any large? What was the largest donation? What was it, a moment where you thought you weren't going to hit a target, and something happened?
Wallahi, this thing of not hitting the target and someone coming in at the last minute, I have maybe 10, 15 times it's happened with donations over 100 grand.
SubhanAllah.
Give you one example. One time, this was in December. So, subhanAllah, we had, I think we have Musallin that come to TIC that are producers for CBC, for example. And so they heard about it, like, brother, we got to tell this story. I said, sure. So then we getting contacted by media, because it's interesting. You're trying to buy a property without a mortgage, without all these things. So at that time, so one example of a story is, I'll give you one of them. So I'm at home, it's like 2 a.m. I will admit, okay, my phone, I'm on it a little bit too much, but I'm constantly looking through the emails, constantly looking through, and you'll see why. So what happened once, there's a email, 2 a.m. I think we were just approaching Ramadan, or it was Ramadan. I can't remember exactly when, but no, I think it was Ramadan. Yeah, it was Ramadan. And so we got an email, said, Salaam alaikum, brother. We're trying to call. And at this time, we had our campaign for online fundraising through social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And so someone had seen that ad, and they said, Salaam alaikum, brother. We keep calling. No one's picking up the phone. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. Who's going to pick up the phone for you? And so anyway, they left their number, and it was like not in Canada. It wasn't a, +1. So I ended up following up with them, and they said they were from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
So I'm like, okay. So I ended up contacting them on WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum wa salam. We want to talk to someone, and we want to understand the situation. So I explained the situation, and I was okay, Assalamu alaikum, brother. We heard a lecture from one of our sheikhs. He said that, if you can't physically do the activity, then at least be the ones who sponsor it. So I said, okay, mashallah. They want to send 160K.
160K.
Like that,
Wow. That
happened. Another happened is, subhanAllah, this I think was the next story I'll tell you is the defining moment. We had a deadline for October or November, and it was like around August. And we need to raise at least 300,000. So we made the announcement after Jummah. We raised around after Salah, maybe 26,000 was raised. And so the board, we sat together, and wallahi, it was one of the most stressful meetings ever.
Wow.
Trying to figure out how to, okay, so this person's going to knock on doors. This person going to do this, to do that. So then I said, okay, today after Maghrib, let's raise some funds. Let's raise at least $5,000 after Maghrib. So we said, okay. So I got up there after Salah, made an announcement, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, this is that. Our goal is 5,000. Raised maybe around 2,000 after Maghrib. And then I get back to the desk, and the brother comes, Assalamu alaikum, brother Shaffni, I was making wudu. Is everything okay? I didn't hear the announcement. I just heard some noise. Is everything okay? I heard something about purchase, or they said, yeah, we're just trying to raise some money. We're trying to raise 5,000 by tonight. Alhamdulillah, we raised half. It's like, okay, alhamdulillah. So it's like, how much is your goal, right? I said, inshallah, our goal is 300,000 before November. It's like, okay. It was Friday, right? He's like, okay. She's like, do you need the money today, or is Monday okay? I said, what do you mean, do you need the money? He's talking about, right? So I was like, yeah, sure. I can wait 2 days, no problem, right? So he said, okay, take my assistant's number down. So I contact the brother, and then and he left. He said, I'll come back. He left, right? And then maybe 30 minutes later, he comes back. This brother comes back into the masjid after giving me, it's like, by the way, do you still need the 5,000? I said, no, Jazakallah khair, brother, we're okay. If you can do this 300, he's like, okay, no problem. So the thing is, we get a lot of people coming in like this, right? That talk and like, do this for me, that for me. So mashallah, this brother, he comes back, and and then on Monday, we connect with his assistant, and he comes in with a bank draft, 300 and something K. Wow. I think it's 323 or something. And then that's it, campaign done.
Subhanallah, closed.
Subhanallah, another example, on the closing day, this was May, this just happened. So this story is maybe 2 years ago or 1 year ago. This other story happened maybe, I think 2 weeks ago. Oh no, not 2 weeks, sorry, on May 31st. On that Friday, we were trying to raise funds. We were around, again, 363, we needed 363 or 364,000 to pay for land transfer tax. So land transfer tax needs to be paid in order for the title of the property to transfer from the landlord to us. So we said to the community, listen, we raised the balance that needed to be raised. It was a big panic and things like that, but alhamdulillah, things were done. And we had another brother who came and said, "Assalamu alaikum, brother, I need to talk to you." Come visit him, and then after that, he says, inshallah, same thing, similar. Friday, wait, on Monday, is it okay? But this time I said, the problem was we didn't have enough time to wait like that. We needed the funds directly. Otherwise, it would have been expenses for us on the landlord side. So alhamdulillah, he was able to, same thing. 363K done.
Wow.
Just like that.
Incredible. SubhanAllah. So many incredible stories of people coming through at the very last minute. And it reminds me of the hadith where when you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a hand span, He comes to you an arm length span. So you're putting in your efforts, your work in trying to raise the funds. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing you gold in the form of people donating these incredibly large amounts that I didn't even think was possible.
Just one thing, what I noticed though, especially when it comes to the fundraising, I tell the brothers as well, guys, Allah needs to see us suffer. He needs to see us like stress out, go crazy, like you're really like and then in the end the result will, because the thing is, we're trying to look, I'm not raising money for myself here, right? I'm not fundraising for like, no one's like, it's for the masjid, right? Where everyone's trying their best to do it for the sake of Allah. So Allah will take care of it, right? All I need to know is I need to try my best, and Allah needs to recognize that I'm trying my best. I can't do it halfway, to do it the full way. And so subhanAllah, this is why I credit a lot of it to, especially the brothers, the du'as, and a lot of people. There's a lot of things that we don't know where that or why the funds are coming from, but definitely, putting in 110%. And this is why, like, one last story, I know we want to switch gears here, but one story actually that really touches me is not really the amount. There's a brother, even today, he sends an e-transfer. You probably e-transfer to the masjid, right? He's been doing it for the past 2 years, $3 every day.
SubhanAllah.
$3 every day. And so, subhanAllah, like this is more of it shows me dedication. Like this brother's, and so it's not always at the same time. Sometimes it's different times, and sometimes like there'll be times in the masjid I said, okay, it's almost like 10, 11 o'clock, and I haven't seen his e-transfer yet, but it will come in. And so this to me is like a brother who's even like, he's dedicated in his own way, sending what he can, and there might be a lot of reward behind this as well.
SubhanAllah, a lesson in consistency. Allah Ta'ala loves the good deeds that are consistent, even if they are small. What an incredible story. I'd love to continue hearing more. It sounds like there's a lot of barakah around TIC, and just the community is beautiful on one of the busiest and most expensive streets in Canada, and on the longest street in North America, Toronto Islamic Centre. Jazakallah khair, Shaffni. We'll continue the conversation, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.